Joe Pye is another water-loving plant, and it has a number of uses. And one of the main uses I have for it is that it's a good diuretic. If you find a good old plant stand and you pull them out of the ground, it'll look like somebody buried a wig, you know, and it'll allow these long rhizomes, and it'll be matted with stones. And it looks like someone buried a wig and they got buried with stones in it. And this will help you remember that this is a plant that can dissolve kidney stones. It's a diuretic, it moves fluids through, and it changes the mineral ratios so that minerals which are being precipitated are brought back into solution and go out.
So it doesn't break them down into smaller pieces to move through, like it's
well, they're
reabsorbing
melting.
them?
They're melting them.
Melting.
So like if I had a salt shaker and I kept shaking it, the salt would disappear before it hits the bottom, and then eventually it would be saturated, and then the salt would build up on the bottom. If I then added water to it, the salt on the bottom would disappear. So a diuretic floods the tissue first with water, but if the salt was, say, calcium sulfate, and then I put in, you know, magnesium citrate, the sulfate would change, the calcium would lose its solubility advantage to the citrate, and so it would go back into solution even at the same volume, right? So minerals can compete for solubility in the same volume of liquid, and so citrates, if you eat like citric acid, lemon juice, orange juice, and you're making calcium oxalate stones, which is really, it's not sulfate, oxalate. If you're making oxalate stones and you take citrate, oxalate will go back into solution and the citrate will switch the calcium out, and you'll have regular urine, but it'll be salty urine. You can measure it with a drop, you know, Bob. Well, no, molecular density of water. What do you call that? The water. Pardon me? Specific gravity. Thank you. Love these smart people. So you can have a heavily mineralized solution with precipitate, add more minerals and bring them into solution by changing solubilities. It's what this plant can do for people with stones. It's one of the plants that we can see.
How would you use it?
The roots. You would gather the roots, dry them, and make a tea or a tincture.
Is it annual?
It's perennial, I think. This will be here.
Yeah, it's perennial. Yeah.
It'll be here, and it's seeds.
So again, like in the fall.
Oh yeah, always. You always pick the roots. You pick the part of a plant by the season. So if you're using the top of a plant, the flowers of a plant, those are summertime picking. If you're picking the roots of a plant, that's like autumn or spring when the sun is low. So you always know where the power of the plant is by the height of the sun. So right now we're in flowering